Hello and welcome to this special edition of Paris Direct with me, Seema Gupta, live here in Rome. At this hour, we have the Cardinals who have just finished this pre-election mass or service just before they will later this afternoon enter the Sistine Chapel for the Conclave. They're probably tucking into some lunch right now, and we'll be finding out more about what happened during this service, where a homily was delivered by Cardinal Giovanni Battista Re, the 91-year-old cardinal who also delivered the homily and led the service for Pope Francis's funeral. So some continuity there, and here to tell me more about what happened at this service, I have here with me Junno Arocho Esteves. He is a Vatican correspondent for La Croix International, the Catholic News Service, among several other publications. Junno, thanks so much for joining us on this special edition of Paris Direct. I just want to know, we heard the Cardinal speaking during the service. He talked about the importance of choosing a pope that will open the consciences of all that listen. Now, was this, in your opinion, a continuation of his excellent summary of Pope Francis's life that he mentioned in the funeral mass just now, almost 2 weeks ago?
I think it's a summary of these past few days where the cardinals have been gathered in these general congregations to discuss the qualities of the next pope. And that's why I think he wanted to make a point that what we're looking is not a carbon copy of Francis or of Benedict or of John Paul II, but we're picking the next Peter, the next Apostle Peter, which he emphasized.
Okay, and that's exactly what everyone is looking at. Who exactly is going to be the successor to Pope Francis and the next Apostle Peter, as Junno put it. And let's have a look right now at some of the possible candidates that have been suggested by the media and everyone who's interested watching this conclave process.
All 133 cardinal electors are now in Rome. From Wednesday, they begin their secretive selection process to decide who will become the head of the church. So who could succeed Francis? If the conclave opts for continuity, Cardinal Pietro Parolin is the name that comes up most often. Number 2 at the Vatican under Francis, he has extensive experience of power both in Rome and abroad. He's already been in the presence of many foreign leaders, which could prove reassuring given the current global uncertainty. And Italians are keen to have another pope. In this respect, Pier Battista Pizzaballa could be an ideal candidate. Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem, he's lived in the Holy Land for 35 years.
Go without distinction to all who are affected by this war in Palestine and Israel and the whole region.
This would give him worldwide exposure and a network of international influence. If the conclave prefers to look for a pope where the church is most dynamic, then it will be in Africa or Asia. Filipino Luis Antonio Tagle is one of those frontrunners. The former Archbishop of Manila has become one of the church's leading figures. With his relaxed approach and enthusiastic interviews like when Francis visited Manila in 2015.
It's like a big national fiesta.
He defends the inclusion of sexual minorities in the church. Unlike the African Cardinal Fridolin Ambongo Basungu, Archbishop of Kinshasa, who could be the conservative candidate. He is one of those who openly criticised the blessing of homosexual couples by Francis. And in a country ravaged by decades of conflict, he has become a powerful voice for peace.
We will find solutions to our crises that have been going on for decades through dialogue, even with those we consider enemies.
Although the College of Cardinals has become much more open to the world under Francis, Europeans are still in the majority, and French Jean-Marc Aveline could also be considered. Regarded as a discreet outsider, the Marseille-based Archbishop's experience is an interreligious dialogue. The Cardinals have all remained tight-lipped about names, recalling that in 2013, Francis was not one of the favourites.
While those are the candidates that are being mentioned and talked about in the media, there is a saying here in Rome that says, he who enters a conclave as a pope often exits the conclave as a cardinal, which means that it's a very unpredictable process. But Junno, I believe it is more unpredictable than ever this year.
Exactly. When you have 80% of the cardinals that were chosen by Francis from the peripheries, it's very hard to tell. Many of the cardinals that I've spoken to have said that one of the biggest challenges is that they don't know each other. And so they're still, during this week, they've been trying to get to know each other. And yes, there's obviously discussions on the side, but it's not like so much over-dramatized like the movie Conclave, where there's plotting and scheming, although some may steer the conversation towards a preferred candidate.
Okay, and do you think, very quickly, I mean, what are the challenges, the main challenges facing whoever will be the successor?
I think confronting the abuse crisis in the church, the financial situation, which isn't all its best, and most importantly, which many of the cardinals have focused on, is unity in the church. They see a church divided. For better or worse, Francis, who was a good pope, a pope of the people, there are many who were contrary to his way of doing things. So I think they want to unite the church once again.
Okay, thank you so much, Junno. So there you have it. We'll be following all the events of today very closely, including, of course, the procession of cardinals into the Sistine Chapel when they will take their oath, every single one, to absolute secrecy with the risk of excommunication from the Catholic Church, and also finally, of course, when they announce that everyone out and the doors are closed and they're secluded in there and meant to take the votes. And of course, watching that chimney on top of the Sistine Chapel to see what smoke comes out later today. But for now, that's it for me here in Rome, and it's back to the studio in Paris with Oliver Ferry for the rest of today's news.